Mary, Helena, chapter 11. We, Jesus and I, were brought with modesty and comfort to a piece of paradise in the Toscana. In a big stone house live John Camus and Mary and their 2 children, 2 dogs, goats and chickens, and their stained glass business. They had beaten their way through life in Rome until John Camus had flogged and left his stressed lawyer job and headed for the hills. After a few days, Jesus decided to leave me in paradise and return to the university to take and teach classes. I missed him, but part of me was him and part of him was me, and I felt the space he took up in my mind and my heart. I couldn't remember being his grandmother. He was certain that we had been part of one another back before we started telling stories about ourselves. The talking animals trying to construct meaning with their baby minds. From my perspective, I had crossed the world and found myself back with old friends. It was a home I had left that I had never had because my family loved the law of their ancestors and couldn't see Jesus for the true angel that he was. In another life, John Camus thought like Jesus and assured me that my parents would someday be my children or grandchildren, and they would watch and learn, and if it took 10 or 20 generations, it did not matter. What mattered was life, and as long as we had it, we had to do all we could to preserve it, love it, and celebrate it. So that is what we did. We got up each morning and made a tea and ate a few cookies, and when someone was inspired to move to the garden or the shop, they did. I took long, slow walks up and down the hills. Sometimes we walked into the village to have a coffee and catch up on any local news. Everyone wanted to know who I was, what brought me to the hills of Toscana, who my man was, what did he teach. But as beautiful as it was in the Toscana, when Jesus returned I was ready to go back to Rome with him. Even if we lived forever, there was no forgiveness for not taking love when it was there. The now was what mattered. When we were back in Rome, Boris Karmas helped me set up a theater group at the university. He and Jesus were my biggest fans. They often sat and discussed with me the philosophy of theater and the necessity of creating a real-life theater. Boris had much influence and won the support of Rome to execute what he called the Great Conspiracy. Not with Roman officials. With him, he called it the New Church. Helena, the world has become our stage. The play has run its course, and Jesus was born to change the world. All he needs is a few thousand angels. That shouldn't be a problem. It's the only thing he already has. The architecture was the part that had to be developed. For the planning of the event, Boris gave me all the support I needed to teach Jesus theater and to become natural in it. And he put together a think team of great minds from the East and West. And as a beautiful surprise for Jesus and I, he brought John and Liz and their 2 children to Rome.